Mountin Hopes Therapeutic Riding Center is located on a 45-acre farm in Mars Hill, North Carolina. And at Mountin Hopes, of course, we believe in the healing power of horses.
Yeah. Fuzzy and soft?
Yeah.
We use horses in a therapeutic way to help people who have physical, neurological, and cognitive differences. We're serving about 200 people a year. The riders at Mountin Hopes are aged any age from 3 to 63, as long as they have permission from their physician to participate in our activities. We serve lots of different people with lots of different kinds of conditions. The top 3 diagnoses that we're working with here at Mountin Hopes are that of autism, Down syndrome, and cerebral palsy. We're also serving up to 40 to 60 other primary and secondary diagnoses with all of the different riders that we serve. For the individual rider, a lot of people think that therapeutic riding is just for physical issues, but it's a lot more complicated than that. Many riders at Mountin Hopes get the benefit not just from being physically on the horse, but also they get the opportunity to participate in an activity that many of their typically developing peers can also participate in. So they get to the feeling of being included in an activity. The other way that therapeutic riding can help is that it gives the opportunity for a person with these differences to engage with a large group of people interested in therapeutic riding.
You can do it. Go, 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 go. Yippee, I go.
You're doing it.
Yippee, look at her go.
The additional effect of therapeutic riding is that riders are so motivated to be here, be with the horses, be with the volunteers, that they really do work hard on their specific goals, whether they be physical or neurological or cognitive. The motivation of getting to be here with the horses really helps accelerate their progress towards their therapy.
So what is therapeutic riding? I get asked this a lot, and my basic understanding of it and what I explain to people is that I'm a riding instructor, and I happen to teach people that come to me with a diagnosis, whether it's physical or mental or learning or emotional. I teach them how to ride horses is bottom line. I think it's important to distinguish that I'm not a therapist, I'm a riding instructor.
Okay, we're going to play a game now. Let's play a game to practice our steering today, okay? We can steer and we can practice our stopping and starting. I'm going to give you a picture, and I want you to take this picture to the letter that it starts with. Where do you see the letter that this starts with?
It's
It's right over there. It is. Do you see the letter A? A?
And so we use the horse and the environment that we create here to teach our riders independence and strength and coordination, and they gain muscle tone and muscle memory, and their bodies are having something to do that they don't normally do, whether it's sitting up tall if they're normally in a wheelchair, or if it's stretching their legs if their legs are normally very tight. So it provides a very good atmosphere for them physically as well as emotionally. They learn social skills here. They interact with other riders as well as their horse. They interact with myself, the instructors, and our volunteers, and they gain confidence and they are proud of themselves. And our riders really take an interest in what they do here and are very proud of the work that they do. Our staff works really hard together to create lessons that are tailored to each rider. So we try to group riders together that have similar goals and similar interests and are on a similar ability level. By doing so, we can work towards the same things, whether that happens to be sitting up tall, or holding your reins, or learning to trot, or learning to canter. So we try to pair our riders so that they'll be very successful in their lessons. A typical lesson consists of, starts in the barn, tacking up your horse, brushing your horse. The riders are responsible at their own level for everything that goes into the lesson. A volunteer will help them brush, a volunteer will help them get the saddle, or watch them if they're very capable of doing it. And so they get the horse ready, we mount up either at the block or the ramp, depending upon what height they need to get on their horse. And from there we go to the arena, whether it's the indoor, outdoor, we have a lot of flexibility to tailor to the weather too. And we have warm-up time. We stretch and we walk around and make sure our stirrups are set and make sure our saddles are tight. and we get our bodies warmed up and ready to work. We work on posture a lot to begin with, as well as getting that muscle tone set so that they can be balanced in the lesson. It's very hard for a horse to carry an unbalanced rider, so by starting the lesson that way, we can set the lesson up to be successful. From there, we go on to just a basic review of what we learned last week, and again, that's different for each rider, so it may be just holding your reins, or we're going to weave the cones to review the turning they learned last week. And then often we can move from there directly into a new skill. Depending upon how long the review takes, we get a lot of new skills learned, and we set goals for each rider, and we use different props and things such as the cones. We weave our cones and cross poles on the ground so that the riders can hear the horses hit their feet on them or count them as they pick their feet up over them, and it also provides a longer step for them so that they can balance on a different stride of the horse. We also use some games in our indoor arena. We play a lot of games with our alphabet on the wall and with numbers specifically so that they can ride and connect to, and they have to be thinking and doing sequencing of events. And through that, they're meeting their new goals and learning new skills. Sometimes we go on trail rides. If the weather's nice, it can provide an extra sensory input for our riders, and they can see different things and feel the wind and see flowers and hear the birds, and we go look at the neighboring horses and cows, and it just provides an extra input for them to be able to meet their goals. To wrap up a lesson, the riders come back to the barn and we dismount, and again, they're responsible for taking care of their horse. The work that goes into riding a horse and keeping a horse is some of what they learn here. So they will untack their horse and take their saddles off and put things away where they got them, as well as brush their horse afterwards and help clean it and often help turn it back out to pasture. We have different tools that we use to again make this successful. We have charts and schedules and different sticker charts that help the riders stay focused and on task. And again, we try to set up the environment to make them as successful and independent as possible.